Captain Aiden stepped off the transport ship onto the shining surface of Virelia, a planet bathed in soft blue light. The air was crisp, fragrant with flowers that floated above the ground in gentle currents. Towering crystal spires stretched toward the sky, reflecting the twin suns in sparkling colors. The streets were alive with alien citizens, their forms elegant and unusual, with skin in shades of silver, blue, and soft green. Many moved gracefully on long legs, while others hovered with small wing-like fins. Aiden adjusted his uniform and took a careful step forward. He had been trained for many worlds, but Virelia was unlike any he had seen. The architecture seemed impossible, yet it felt alive. The humans traveling with him stayed close, unsure of how to interact with the alien environment. Aiden, however, moved with quiet confidence. He had learned long ago that observation and patience often mattered more than force. The royal envoy waited for him at the palace gates. A golden-hued alien with 3 eyes greeted him and bowed low. "Welcome, Captain Aiden. The Princess Lyra awaits your arrival." Aiden inclined his head politely. "Thank you. I look forward to meeting her." The gates parted, revealing a vast courtyard filled with floating gardens. Bridges of glass arched over streams of glowing water, and delicate alien flowers hummed with soft light. At the far end, standing beneath a crystal arch, was Princess Lyra. She was taller than most of her people, with silver-blue skin that seemed to shimmer as she moved. Her hair flowed like liquid metal, and her eyes, a deep violet, regarded Aiden with both curiosity and caution. Aiden's first impression was simple. She carried herself with calm authority, but there was a flicker of wonder in her gaze. She had seen many humans in the past, but none like him. She noticed the ease with which he adapted to the strange surroundings, the way he moved carefully without fear, and the way he observed everything before speaking. "Princess Lyra," Aiden said, bowing slightly. "It is an honor to meet you." Lyra inclined her head gracefully. "Captain Aiden, the council speaks highly of your achievements." "I hope your stay will be pleasant." Aiden smiled gently. "I hope to learn from your world as much as I contribute to it." A soft breeze moved through the courtyard, and the hum of the floating gardens made a calm melody. Lyra studied Aiden closely. There was something familiar about him, though she could not explain why. His presence felt natural in a place that often felt alien even to her own people. The first days were filled with observation and learning. Aiden attended meetings with the Royal Council, visiting workshops where alien engineers designed technology far beyond human imagination. He asked questions not to challenge but to understand. His questions were clear and thoughtful, and often led to solutions that had not occurred to the Virelians. One morning, a problem arose in the palace. A delicate energy conduit that powered a large portion of the Crystal City had begun to fluctuate. The alien engineers tried to stabilize it, but their methods relied heavily on their biology, which limited their precision. The conduit shimmered and pulsed, threatening to disrupt the gardens and bridges above. Aiden stepped forward. He observed the patterns, noting the frequency and timing of the pulses. Using a small device from his own kit, he mapped the energy flow and suggested a simple adjustment that aligned with the conduit's natural rhythm. The lead engineer hesitated but allowed him to try. With a careful touch, Aiden adjusted the settings. The conduit stabilized and the energy flowed smoothly once more. The gardens above pulsed with soft light, the water in the streams glimmered, and the city resumed its quiet rhythm. Lyra watched from above, her eyes widening slightly. She had expected humans to be strong or clever in battle, but she had not anticipated such intelligence in understanding alien energy systems. She felt a small spark of admiration for the human warrior, who had just saved part of her city without even raising a weapon. Later, she approached him in the gardens. "Captain," she said softly, "how did you know what to do?" "None of my engineers could stabilize it." Aiden shook his head with humility. "I have worked with many systems, Princess. I do not understand yours completely, but sometimes observation and a few simple adjustments are enough. Your engineers did well, they just needed a slightly different perspective." Lyra nodded. She sensed something rare in him, a combination of intelligence and humility. She had met humans before, but Aiden seemed different. There was a calm confidence, a patience, and a curiosity that went beyond his training. In the evenings, Lyra would watch Aiden walk through the palace corridors, speaking kindly to attendants and observing every detail. He noticed when a small crystal on the floor was out of place. when a garden plant needed extra water, or when a citizen was struggling with a device. Unlike other humans or aliens, he acted without pride, simply helping wherever he could. One night, Lyra told him a story while they sat on a balcony overlooking the floating gardens. "Long ago, our people believed a human would come to this world," she said. "A human who could see beyond our ways, who could understand the heart of the palace and the people, and bring balance." Aiden listened carefully, as he always did, nodding occasionally. "Do you believe that human will appear?" he asked. Lyra looked at him, her eyes reflecting the twin moons above. "I do not know. But if they do, they will be very clever, very kind, and very patient. They will not only understand our world, but also the hearts of those who live in it." Aiden smiled softly. "That sounds like a difficult person to find. But if they exist, perhaps they will come." Lyra paused, thinking of him without realizing it. There was a strange familiarity, as if she had known him all her life. She wondered if the prophecy she had heard as a child might be unfolding before her eyes. The days passed quickly. Aiden continued his work, not seeking recognition but quietly making the palace and the city better. Citizens began to notice him and admired his simple acts of thoughtfulness. He helped an elderly alien fix a floating cart, adjusted a misaligned bridge so children could cross safely, and even suggested minor improvements to the palace gardens that made them bloom brighter. Through it all, Lyra watched him. She had learned to admire courage and skill, but there was something more here. Aiden's presence brought a sense of calm and order without dominance. He solved problems not by force but by understanding, and the more she observed him, the more she wondered about the prophecy and the human who could bring balance to their world. One evening, as the twin suns set and the city glowed in soft light, Lyra approached Aiden again. "Captain, there is a task I wish to show you tomorrow," she said. "It is delicate and requires understanding. I believe you may be able to help where others cannot." Aiden inclined his head. "I will do my best, Princess." Lyra smiled faintly. "I hope you do. Sometimes even the cleverest among us cannot see the simplest solution. Perhaps a fresh perspective is all we need." Aiden did not know it yet, but this task would be the first step towards something far greater than stabilizing energy conduits or adjusting gardens. It would be the first step toward uncovering a connection that neither he nor the princess fully understood, a bond that would change both their lives forever. As he walked back to his quarters that night, Aiden thought about the planet and its people. He had faced many worlds, many challenges, and many cultures. But Virelia felt different. There was something gentle yet powerful about it, something in the way its citizens lived in harmony with their environment and each other. And there was someone here who intrigued him more than anyone he had ever met, someone who seemed as curious about him as he was about her. Lyra, meanwhile, stood on her balcony, gazing at the stars above. She felt a strange sense of anticipation. She did not know why, but she felt that her world and this human warrior were connected in ways she could not yet understand. She had paused in shock more than once at his cleverness, his humility, and his patience. And deep down, she wondered if the human in front of her might be the one the prophecy had foretold. The night was calm. The gardens glowed softly, and both human and princess felt the quiet stirrings of a story that was only beginning. The morning sun of Virelia bathed the crystal city in golden light, making the floating gardens shimmer like jewels. Princess Lyra walked along the polished walkways with a thoughtful expression. The events of the past few days had made her curious about Captain Aiden, the human warrior. His cleverness, patience, and calm confidence continued to impress her, and she could not shake the feeling that there was something unusual about him. In the palace courtyard, engineers and citizens gathered near a large structure that hummed with energy. Lyra approached and noticed a subtle shift in the light patterns of the city's central energy conduit. Aiden was already there, observing the fluctuations carefully. "What is happening here?" Lyra asked, her voice steady but concerned. Aiden turned and smiled politely. "It seems part of the main conduit has become unstable. The system is sensitive to minor changes in energy flow. I think it is something that can be fixed if we approach it carefully." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "The engineers have tried many solutions. Why do you think you can succeed where they could not?" Aiden shook his head. "It is not about succeeding where others fail. It is about seeing the problem from a different perspective. Sometimes a solution is hidden in plain sight." Lyra studied him for a moment, Humans often relied on force or speed to solve problems. Aiden relied on observation and logic. There was no arrogance in him, only calm confidence. She began to sense why the prophecy might speak of a human who would bring balance to her world. The engineers allowed Aiden to examine the conduit. He moved carefully, using a small tool to measure energy pulses and analyze flow patterns. His approach was simple, yet precise. He noticed tiny misalignments in the crystal panels that carried energy and minor delays in the pulse timing that the aliens' biological processes could not detect. After several hours, Aiden adjusted the panels slightly and synchronized the pulse timing with a gentle rhythm. The conduit stabilized immediately, and energy flowed evenly throughout the city. The floating gardens glowed brighter, streams sparkled with soft light, and the citizens cheered quietly at the smooth recovery. Lyra's violet eyes widened. She had expected humans to be strong or clever in battle. But Aiden's understanding of her city's complex energy systems was beyond her expectations. For the first time, she felt a deep admiration for the human warrior who had helped her people without demanding recognition. That was remarkable, Lyra said, her voice soft. How did you know exactly what to do? Aiden shook his head. I did not know exactly. I only observed carefully and adjusted gently. Your engineers provided the knowledge. I just looked for patterns they might have overlooked. Lyra nodded slowly. She realized that his approach was unlike anything she had seen. He did not rush, he did not act out of pride, and he did not assume he knew better. Instead, he understood the system and worked with it, respecting its nature. As the day progressed, Lyra invited Aiden to walk with her through the palace gardens. The twin moons were not yet visible, but the gardens glowed softly with energy from the conduits. You are unlike any human I have met, Lyra said. You are clever, patient, and humble. I do not understand why you are so calm, even when the situation is difficult. Aiden smiled faintly. I have learned that patience and observation often solve more problems than force. Many worlds are full of challenges. It is easier to see solutions when you do not rush. Lyra considered this. In her world, power and authority were often displayed openly. Strength was admired and speed was praised. But Aiden's quiet intelligence felt different. It was steady, reliable, and deeply effective. She found herself watching him more closely, noticing the way he moved, the way he spoke to others, and the way he solved problems without showing pride. That evening, Lyra introduced Aiden to a new challenge. A small section of the palace's floating gardens had begun to wilt. The plant's energy absorption systems were not functioning correctly, and the engineers were puzzled. Lyra hoped Aiden's human perspective might provide insight. Aiden examined the plants carefully. He touched the energy nodes gently, observing the flow patterns and listening to the soft vibrations of the garden. He noted that some nodes were receiving uneven energy pulses, and others were blocked by subtle crystal misalignments. Adjust these panels slightly and synchronize the pulses, he said calmly. It should restore balance. The engineers followed his instructions, and soon the garden glowed brightly again. Flowers floated gently in the air, humming softly, and the small streams sparkled like liquid crystal. Citizens who had gathered to watch the process applauded quietly. Lyra could not hide her amazement. You understand our systems in a way even our engineers do not, she said. It is astonishing. Aiden shook his head modestly. I only observe and adjust. Your people created these systems. I just tried to see them from another angle. Over the next few days, Lyra and Aiden spent more time together. She began to share stories of her world, the floating gardens, the crystal spires, and the traditions of the royal family. Aiden listened carefully, asking thoughtful questions and showing genuine interest in her explanations. One night, Lyra took him to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons reflected in the crystal spires, creating a soft, magical glow. There is a story from long ago, she said softly. A prophecy speaks of a human who would come to our world, someone clever, patient, and kind. They would understand the hearts of our people and help bring balance. Aiden listened, his expression calm. Do you believe the prophecy is true? Lyra shook her head slightly. I do not know, but the description is very specific. If such a human exists, they would be different from all others. They would not only be clever, but also humble and understanding. Perhaps they would come in a time of need. Aiden smiled faintly. It seems like a very special person. I hope they appear if they are meant to. Lyra looked at him closely. She did not realize it yet, but as she spoke, she felt a strange familiarity. Something about Aiden matched the description in the prophecy, though she could not fully understand it. She wondered if the human before her might be more than just clever and patient. The following day, the palace council invited Aiden to assist in solving a more complex problem. A minor energy fluctuation had spread across several districts, causing small disturbances in public spaces. While the engineers were skilled, the problem required quick adjustments and logical reasoning that exceeded their biological limits. Aiden worked methodically. He observed the pattern of fluctuations, noting how each node interacted with the others. With careful adjustments, he restored balance across the city. The citizens were impressed, and even the council members nodded in quiet admiration. Lyra stood nearby, observing him. Each time he solved a problem, she felt a growing respect and curiosity. She realized that Aiden's human qualities, curiosity, patience, intelligence, and kindness, were not only effective but also inspiring. They made her see her world differently. That evening, Lyra approached him again. "Captain, your understanding of our systems is remarkable. You see solutions that even our experts miss. It is not just skill, it is insight." Aiden shook his head. "I do not claim insight. I only pay attention and try to understand. Your people created these systems. I just see them from another angle." Lyra smiled faintly, realizing that humility was another quality that set him apart. "Perhaps that is what makes humans different," she said quietly. "You do not assume superiority. You observe, learn, and act carefully. There is a quiet strength in that." Aiden looked at her and nodded. Sometimes, quiet strength accomplishes more than force or pride. As they walked back to the palace, Lyra's mind was full of questions and wonder. She could not explain why, but she felt a sense of trust and admiration for the human warrior. He had arrived as an envoy, but he was becoming someone far more important. In the quiet glow of the palace, Lyra realized that the prophecy might not only be about cleverness or skill, it might also be about understanding, patience, and the ability to bridge differences. Aiden embodied all these qualities, and she began to feel that perhaps her world and the human before her were connected in ways she did not yet fully comprehend. The twin moons rose above the crystal city, casting a soft silver glow over the gardens. Aiden walked quietly beside Lyra, unaware that his simple acts of observation and kindness were weaving the first threads of a bond that would change both their lives. The story of the human warrior and the alien princess was only beginning, and both of them sensed that the challenges and mysteries ahead. The morning light on Virelia bathed the crystal city in a gentle shimmer. Princess Lyra walked through the palace corridors with quiet determination. For days she had watched Captain Aiden solve problems with patience, intelligence, and humility. Each success left her both impressed and uneasy. She could not explain why, but she felt a strange familiarity with him. Lyra's curiosity had grown into something more. She wanted answers about the human who had quietly entered her world. She had heard the prophecy from her childhood. A human would arrive to bring balance to the royal family and the city. Until now, she had thought it was a story for children. But Aiden's presence, his understanding, and his cleverness made her wonder. Could he truly be the human of legend? Determined to seek the truth, Lyra visited the palace archives. The archives were vast, filled with glowing crystal panels that stored knowledge dating back centuries. She passed rows of holographic records, her fingers brushing lightly over the smooth surfaces as she searched. The air was quiet except for the soft hum of energy flowing through the building. At last, she found a section marked with the symbol of the royal line. The symbol glowed faintly, indicating a record of importance. Lyra activated the crystal interface and a holographic projection appeared. Images of past events, royal ceremonies, and ancient texts floated before her eyes. She scanned the information quickly, her heart beating faster. One record caught her attention, a centuries-old prophecy written in elegant alien script. It described a human who would come to the royal palace, someone capable of understanding both the people and the energy systems that powered the city. The human would not rely on strength alone, but on observation, intelligence, and a deep sense of empathy. Lyra's violet eyes widened. The description matched Aiden perfectly. His cleverness, patience, and humility mirrored the qualities mentioned in the prophecy. She could not believe it. Could it really be him? As she continued reading, the record detailed the human's arrival. It stated that the person would come without fanfare, blending quietly into the world while proving their worth through small acts of understanding and kindness. Lyra's breath caught. Every action Aiden had taken, adjusting the energy conduits, restoring the gardens, helping citizens, was exactly as the prophecy described. Her mind raced. She remembered the first day he arrived, how naturally he moved among her people. She thought about the way he solved problems without pride and how he treated everyone with respect. Every detail now felt significant. Lyra felt a mix of wonder and disbelief. Could the prophecy be true? Could the human who had quietly entered her life be the one who was destined to bring balance? She wanted to confront him, but she hesitated. She needed more proof, something undeniable. Later that day, Lyra arranged a private meeting with Aiden. She led him to a hidden chamber beneath the palace, a place few citizens had ever seen. The walls were lined with crystal panels glowing softly with ancient knowledge. Lyra motioned for him to observe the holographic displays. "Aiden," she said carefully, "I have discovered something remarkable. There is a record in the archives, a prophecy about a human who would come to our world. It describes someone clever, patient, and understanding, someone who would help the royal family and the people in ways no one else could." Aiden studied the holographic images. He did not react with pride or arrogance. Instead, he nodded calmly. "I see," he said. "And you think this human might be me?" Lyra looked at him, her violet eyes searching. "I do not know, but everything in the prophecy matches your actions and your qualities. You arrived quietly, helped the city in ways others could not, and have shown patience and understanding in every task." "It is astonishing," Aiden smiled faintly. "It is a great honor if that is true, but I do not seek recognition. I only wish to serve and help where I can." Lyra felt a strange warmth in her chest. There was no arrogance in him, no desire for fame, just a quiet, steady presence that made the world around him better. She realized that the prophecy was not only about cleverness or skill, it was about empathy, understanding, and the ability to see beyond appearances. Aiden embodied all these qualities. As they explored the chamber together, Lyra noticed small details in his behavior that seemed familiar in ways she could not explain. The way he touched the panels, the way he observed the patterns, even the way he paused thoughtfully before acting, all of it felt like a confirmation of the prophecy. "Captain," Lyra said softly, "there is more to this prophecy. It speaks of a bond between the human and the royal line, a partnership that would bring balance and harmony to the city. I do not fully understand it, but I believe it may be connected to you." Aiden looked at her, his expression calm yet curious. "I do not know what the prophecy fully entails, but if it is true, then I will do my best to honor it. I have come to this world to help, and if this is part of a greater purpose, I will follow it as best I can." Lyra felt a mix of awe and hope. She realized that her feelings for him were more than admiration. The prophecy, his actions, and the quiet bond forming between them were guiding them toward something greater than either could fully comprehend. In the days that followed, Lyra observed Aiden even more closely. She noticed how he interacted with the citizens, always with patience and kindness. He helped children understand small energy devices, guided elderly citizens through the floating gardens, and quietly solved problems that no one else had noticed. Each act confirmed what she had read in the prophecy. One evening, as the twin moons rose above the city, Lyra took Aiden to the highest tower in the palace. From there, they could see the entire city glowing softly with energy. The floating gardens shimmered, the streams reflected the moonlight, and the crystal spires sparkled like stars. "Aiden," Lyra said, her voice gentle, "I have never met anyone like you. Your understanding of our world, your patience, and your quiet strength, it is extraordinary. I feel that the prophecy may be true, and that you are connected to it in ways we cannot yet fully understand." Aiden looked out over the city, his expression calm. "I am honored, Princess. I only wish to help and to learn. If this is part of a greater purpose, I will do my best to fulfill it." Lyra paused, studying him. There was something more she wanted to say, a truth she had not yet spoken aloud. She realized that the human before her was not just clever or patient. He was someone who could bridge differences, understand hearts, and inspire trust. The prophecy spoke of a bond, and she felt it forming with every passing moment. In that quiet tower, surrounded by the soft glow of the city, Lyra understood that the journey ahead would reveal even greater truths. The human warrior had arrived not only to help with practical challenges, but also to fulfill a destiny that connected their lives in ways beyond comprehension. As they descended the tower together, Lyra felt a renewed sense of purpose. She would watch carefully, learn more, and perhaps in time uncover the full meaning of the prophecy. Aiden had already proven his worth not through force or power, but through understanding, patience, and quiet brilliance. The city below shimmered with life, the citizens unaware that a story of destiny, trust, and unity was unfolding above them. Lyra and Aiden walked side by side, the beginnings of a bond forming between human and princess, a bond that promised to change their world forever. The secrets of the prophecy had been revealed in part, but much remained hidden. Lyra knew that the coming days would test both her understanding and her heart. And she also knew that Captain Aiden, the human warrior, was at the center of it all, quietly proving that humans could achieve greatness through patience, kindness, and insight. The journey of discovery, trust, and destiny had begun. The prophecy was alive, and both Lyra and Aiden were moving forward together, unaware of how deeply their lives were intertwined. The twin moons of Virelia hung low over the crystal city, casting a soft silver glow across the floating gardens. Princess Lyra walked quietly through the palace corridors, her mind full of questions and emotions she could no longer ignore. The events of the past days had left her both curious and unsettled. Captain Aiden, the human warrior, had proven himself brilliant, patient, and kind beyond measure. His cleverness and calm presence had helped her city in ways she could not have imagined. Yet more than his skills, Lyra felt a growing connection to him, one she could not explain. The prophecy she had discovered in the archives spoke of a human who would come to the royal line, someone who would bring balance, understanding, and harmony. Every act Aiden had performed matched the description perfectly, but there was still one question she could not answer. Was he truly the human the prophecy had foretold? Determined to find out, Lyra decided to confront him. She sent a quiet message asking him to meet her in the palace gardens at night. When Aiden arrived, the moonlight reflected softly on his face, highlighting his calm and thoughtful expression. He bowed slightly in respect, as he always did. "Princess," he said, his voice gentle. "You wish to speak?" Lyra nodded, taking a deep breath. She led him to a secluded section of the gardens where the flowers glowed softly, and the streams reflected the silver light of the moons. The air was cool, filled with the faint hum of energy from the city below. "Aiden," she began, her voice steady but full of emotion. "I have discovered something in the archives. There is a prophecy about a human who would come to our world, someone who would help the royal family and our people in ways no one else could. The description, it matches you." Aiden looked at her calmly, listening carefully. "You think it might be me?" he asked quietly. Lyra nodded, her eyes searching his face. "Every action you have taken, every problem you have solved, every kind gesture, it is all exactly as the prophecy describes. I cannot ignore it any longer. I need to know if you are truly the human foretold to come to this world." Aiden paused, choosing his words carefully. "Princess, I do not know if I am the one from the prophecy. I came here to help your people and to learn. I have always acted with honesty and patience because that is how I believe problems are solved. If this is part of a greater purpose, I will accept it. But I never imagined it would be about destiny." Lyra stepped closer, her violet eyes reflecting both hope and uncertainty. "Do you not feel it? The way everything seems to connect? The way your actions have touched the city, the people, and me. There is a bond forming between us, and I feel it growing stronger each day." Aiden looked at her with a gentle smile. "I do feel it, Princess. I have felt a connection since I arrived. I have watched your world and your people, and I have tried to help wherever I could, but I did not understand that it might be part of a prophecy or destiny. I only knew that I wanted to serve and learn." Lyra's heart beat faster. She had expected many things when she confronted him, but not his quiet humility. There was no arrogance, no desire for recognition, just a sincere wish to help and understand. It was exactly what the prophecy had described, and yet it was far more powerful in reality than in any ancient text. "I have watched you, Aiden," Lyra said softly, "and I have seen your patience, your cleverness, and your kindness. You do not act out of pride or for reward. You act because it is the right thing to do. That is what the prophecy speaks of, and I can feel it in every action you take." Aiden nodded slowly. "Princess, I will do my best to honor whatever destiny awaits. I came here to help, and if this is part of a greater purpose, I will accept it. But I wish to act not because of prophecy alone, but because it is the right thing for your people and your world." Lyra smiled faintly, feeling a warmth she could not describe. "That is why I feel connected to you, Aiden. Not just because of the prophecy, but because of who you are. Your presence, your intelligence, and your humility, they make me see my world differently. They make me believe that humans can truly bring harmony and understanding across worlds." Aiden's expression softened. "I have always believed that humans can achieve great things, not by force or power, but through understanding, kindness, and clever thinking. Your world is remarkable, and it has taught me much already. I am grateful for the chance to be here." Lyra stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you understand what this means, Aiden? That you are not just a visitor or a warrior. You are part of something greater. You are part of the future of this world and part of my life in ways I cannot yet fully explain." Aiden reached out, his hand hovering near hers, but not touching. "I understand, Princess, and I am ready to face whatever comes together with you. I will honor this connection, not for prophecy alone, but because it is right, and because I care for your world and your people." Lyra felt her chest fill with a sense of relief and joy. The truth she had feared to confront was now clear. Aiden was more than just clever and patient. He was the human the prophecy had foretold. But more importantly, he was someone she could trust, someone who understood her world and someone who inspired hope. The two of them stood quietly, the soft glow of the moonlight reflecting off the crystal city below. The air was filled with the hum of energy from the palace gardens, and the soft flutter of floating flowers added a gentle melody to the night. Neither spoke for a moment, each absorbing the significance of the revelation. Finally, Lyra broke the silence. "Aiden, I trust you. I believe in you. And I believe that together we can honor the prophecy and help our people in ways that no one else could." Aiden bowed his head slightly, his expression calm and sincere. "Thank you, Princess. Your trust means more than words can express. I will do my best to honor it in every action, every decision, and every choice I make." Lyra felt a sense of peace settle over her. The questions that had troubled her for days were answered, and yet a new understanding had formed. The prophecy was real, but it was not only about destiny. It was about choice, trust, and the quiet courage to do what is right. Aiden embodied all of these qualities, and she knew that their bond would guide them through the challenges ahead. As they walked back through the glowing gardens, Lyra felt a sense of anticipation. The future of her world and the city depended not only on cleverness and skill, but on understanding, empathy, and trust. She now knew that Aiden possessed all these qualities in abundance. "Captain," she said softly, "there is much to do. Our city, our people, and our future will need both of us. Are you ready to face it with me?" Aiden smiled gently. "I am ready, Princess. I will face it with you, and I will do my best to honor the prophecy, our bond, and the people of this world." Lyra felt a warmth in her chest, a feeling of certainty she had never experienced before. She had paused in shock when she first realized that Aiden might be the human of the prophecy. Now she felt a quiet joy, knowing that he was not only capable but willing to share this journey with her. The twin moons shone brighter, illuminating the floating gardens and the crystal spires of the city. The citizens below continued their lives, unaware that a profound moment of destiny had just unfolded above them. The human warrior and the alien princess had confronted the truth, and in doing so, had formed a bond that would shape the future of their world. Lyra looked at Aiden, her heart full of trust and hope. She knew that together, They could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The prophecy had revealed its first secret, and the story of the human warrior and the alien princess was entering a new and exciting chapter. As they returned to the palace, the night air felt lighter, filled with promise. Both Aiden and Lyra understood that the days ahead would test their courage, their intelligence, and their understanding of each other. But for the first time, they also understood that they would face those days together. The city glowed softly beneath them, a symbol of harmony and potential. And above it all, the twin moons witnessed the quiet beginning of a partnership that would not only honor an ancient prophecy but also unite human and alien in ways that would inspire generations to come. The emotional confrontation had revealed the truth, and the bond between human and princess had grown stronger. Their journey was far from over, but they now faced it with trust, understanding, and the quiet strength that comes from knowing that destiny can be fulfilled through choice and courage. The morning sun rose over the crystal city of Virelia, casting long beams of light across the floating gardens and shimmering spires. Today was a special day, one that would be remembered by the citizens of the city for generations. Princess Lyra had called for a grand ceremony to celebrate the harmony between her people and the human warrior, Captain Aiden. The prophecy that had guided her thoughts for weeks would finally be honored openly. The citizens gathered in the central courtyard, their eyes wide with curiosity and excitement. Children floated above the ground, their laughter mingling with the soft hum of energy from the crystal structures. Elders watched with quiet pride, remembering tales of the prophecy from their own youth. The air was filled with anticipation. Princess Lyra stood at the center of the courtyard, her silver blue hair catching the sunlight. Her violet eyes scanned the crowd, and finally they rested on Aiden, who stood nearby with calm composure. He did not display pride or arrogance, only the quiet strength and confidence that had earned him the admiration of her people. Lyra took a deep breath and began to speak. "Citizens of Virelia," she said, her voice carrying clearly across the courtyard. "Today we gather to honor a special visitor who has come to our world not only to assist and learn, but also to fulfill an ancient prophecy." The crowd leaned in, curious and eager to hear her words. Aiden's presence had already made a strong impression, but this announcement made them even more attentive. Lyra continued, "This human, Captain Aiden, has shown patience, cleverness, and understanding in ways that have strengthened our city and our people. He has helped us see our world differently, and he has brought harmony where we needed it most. Today I acknowledge him as a trusted partner, a friend, and someone who belongs not only among us but also in my life." Aiden's expression remained calm, but a soft smile appeared on his face. He stepped forward, bowing respectfully to Lyra and then to the citizens. "Thank you, Princess Lyra. I am honored by your words. I have come to your world to help and to learn. If my presence has made a positive difference, it is only because your people have welcomed me and allowed me to observe, understand, and act with care." Lyra nodded, her heart full of warmth. She had paused in shock when she first realized that Aiden might be the human from the prophecy. Now she felt a deep sense of certainty. His actions had proven his worth not through force, but through intelligence, patience, and kindness. The ceremony continued with Lyra guiding Aiden to the center of the courtyard, where a crystal dais had been prepared. She placed a hand on his shoulder gently. "Captain, today we celebrate not only your cleverness and courage, but also the bond we share as friends and as partners in guiding our world toward balance and harmony." The citizens cheered softly, their voices blending with the hum of the city's energy. They had witnessed Aiden's actions, his humility, and his understanding, and they now saw the truth of the prophecy realized before their eyes. Aiden spoke again, his voice calm and sincere. "Princess Lyra, it has been my honor to serve your people and to learn from this extraordinary world. I accept this recognition not for myself, but as a commitment to continue helping, observing, and understanding. Together, we can face challenges, discover solutions, and bring harmony to this city and beyond." Lyra smiled, feeling a sense of joy and pride. She realized that the prophecy had been fulfilled not just because Aiden arrived, but because of his character, his actions, and the way he connected with her people. He had proven that humans were capable of achieving greatness through patience, intelligence, and kindness. The ceremony included demonstrations of the city's restored systems, highlighting Aiden's contributions. Floating gardens pulsed with balanced energy, streams shimmered clearly, and crystal bridges reflected the sunlight in perfect harmony. Citizens walked across the bridges, their movements smooth and effortless, a symbol of the stability and balance Aiden had helped restore. Lyra guided Aiden to a quiet spot at the edge of the courtyard, where the twin moon's reflection shimmered in a small pool of water. "Aiden," she said softly, "you have shown that humans are capable of more than strength or speed. Your cleverness, patience, and kindness have inspired not only me but our people as well. I am grateful for your presence, your understanding, and your heart." Aiden looked at her, his calm expression reflecting humility and warmth. "Princess, I am grateful for your trust and your guidance. Your world has taught me much about balance, understanding, and the importance of quiet strength. I am honored to be part of it." Lyra felt a gentle sense of peace. She realized that their bond went beyond prophecy or duty. It was built on mutual respect, understanding, and the shared desire to make the world better. Together they could face challenges, explore possibilities, and continue to guide their people toward harmony. The citizens began to present small gifts and tokens of appreciation to Aiden, simple objects imbued with the energy of the city. He accepted them humbly, thanking each person with quiet words and a respectful bow. The people saw not only a clever human but someone who valued their culture, their efforts, and their lives. As the day progressed, Lyra and Aiden walked through the city together, observing the improvements and small acts of harmony inspired by his guidance. Children played safely across the floating gardens, citizens collaborated on energy projects, and the air was filled with quiet joy and curiosity. Aiden's presence had changed the city, not by force but by inspiring understanding and clever solutions. In the afternoon, Lyra led Aiden to the palace balcony, overlooking the central courtyard. The sun reflected off the crystal spires, creating a dazzling display of light. "Aiden," she said, "today we have recognized your contributions and the prophecy. But more than that, we have shown that humans and Virelians can work together, learn from each other, and achieve harmony. That is a bond I hope will continue for many years." Aiden nodded. "Princess, I hope so too. It is a rare opportunity to learn, understand, and help a world as extraordinary as this. I will do my best to honor this bond and continue working alongside you." Lyra's heart swelled with gratitude and hope. She had paused in shock when she first realized that Aiden was the human of the prophecy. Now she felt certainty and joy. He had proven himself through actions, humility, and understanding. The prophecy was no longer just words. It was alive in their lives. As evening approached, the twin moons rose above the city, casting silver light over the floating gardens. Lyra and Aiden stood quietly, watching the reflections dance across the streams and crystal spires. The city was peaceful, balanced, and vibrant, a reflection of the partnership they had built. "I am glad you are here, Aiden," Lyra said softly. "Not just because of the prophecy, but because of who you are. You have brought cleverness, patience, and kindness to our world in ways I could not have imagined." Aiden smiled gently. "And I am glad to be here, Princess. Your trust, your guidance, and your world have shown me the value of observation, understanding, and quiet action. Together, we can continue to make this world even better." The citizens below continued their celebrations, unaware of the profound connection that had formed between the human warrior and the alien princess. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but its true meaning extended beyond ancient words. It was about understanding, empathy, and the courage to act wisely. Lyra paused, looking at Aiden with a soft smile. "I believe that our journey is only beginning. The city, our people, and the future hold many challenges and discoveries. But I also believe that together we can face them, learn, and continue to grow." Aiden nodded. "I agree, Princess. Our partnership is a promise to work together, to understand and to help wherever we can. That is the true meaning of the prophecy." As night fell over the crystal city, the twin moons shone brightly, illuminating the floating gardens, the shimmering streams, and the towering spires. The citizens continued their quiet celebrations, inspired by the harmony and cleverness of a human warrior who had come to their world. Lyra and Aiden stood side by side, their bond stronger than ever. The prophecy had been realized not through force or power, but through intelligence, patience, kindness, and understanding. They had shown that humans could bridge worlds, inspire trust, and bring harmony to even the most extraordinary places. The city glowed softly in the moonlight, a symbol of balance, cleverness, and partnership. Lyra knew that with Aiden by her side, the future was full of promise. The story of the human warrior and the alien princess had reached its moment of recognition, but the adventure of understanding, cooperation, and harmony was just beginning. And so, beneath the silver light of the twin moons, the human warrior and the alien princess stood together, ready to face the world, honor the prophecy, and build a future guided by trust, cleverness, and quiet courage. The citizens of Virelia celebrated not only a fulfilled prophecy, but also the beginning of a new era where human and alien worked together for the betterment of all.